It's exactly what we were talking about on the last episode. This is the law of large numbers at work. It works perfectly. You launch something in there, you just let it go. Maybe you fly some military drone or two, Let's make sure they all have flashing lights so we know that so we know that they're covert and searching for something very secretively. And then all of America suddenly, when they look, they never look up to the sky. Now hey, there's a lot going on in the sky. I didn't know that. Oh my God, we must be under attack. It must be drones. What's happening? It's like people don't look up. They're always looking down on their phones. For the first time, America, New Jersey, my old state, they're looking in the sky. Oh man, there's a lot going on there. Yeah, including a whole bunch of whack jobs who are flying their drones to get on the local news. This is great. I love it. And I want to finalize this today. Can we finalize it? Can I get a witness? Can I finalize this?
It won't happen.
Oh yeah, no, it's happening. It's happening. But first,
they're going to keep this bull crap up for another week.
No. Oh,
another week. Using up too many news cycles. They're loving it.
Yeah, another week. I'll give you another week. But let me just roll through a couple clips here, and then we'll lock it all down.
I want to make a point, except for the 1 to 2 second half of show clips I have. But I want you to note, if you look at my rundown,
I'm looking at your rundown.
There's no drone clips whatsoever,
and I appreciate that.
And I did have the one I was thinking of using, which was Mayorkas, a real doofus, coming out and saying, "No, everyone's imagining it."
I didn't. You should have gotten that one. I didn't.
I'll tell you what he says.
I don't have the Mayorkas one.
Mayorkas comes out and he talks for 10 minutes, and everything he says is, "No, there's nothing going on. People are seeing like an airplane, and 5 people report it, and so it's 5 reports of different drones, and it's all imagined. There's nothing to see here.
It's
period.
Great. It's great. This was an op, and I'm going to explain it, and I'm just going to bring closure to what we talked about on the last episode, and everybody can calm down, and then we'll give them another week of this nonsense, and we'll be on to something else. You've already forgotten about Hot Luigi. I mean, how disappointing is that?
Poor Luigi.
Poor Luigi. All right. First, there's nothing like getting a borough president from Staten Island all angry. I mean, it's just funny.
Now, we've reported on these drone concerns in New Jersey. Some experts have said the sightings could very well be lawfully manned aircrafts today. We're hearing from officials on Staten Island about the same topic. Take a listen.
There's a saying that we had after 9/11, if you see something, say something. I think that's become, if you see something, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
We saw it too.
Forget about it.
And the people of Staten Island deserve answers. The people of this city and state and region deserve answers of what the heck is going on.
So we've heard from the FBI, and the FBI says there's no reason to believe that these recent possible drone sightings pose a national security threat. Now, in terms of what we're getting from local officials, we're being told we're going to get an update this afternoon at some point, Bianca, in terms of what they've been looking at here.
So the best part of this operation is John Kirby, who is, he's the rear admiral. He's the spokeshole for the White House, Pentagon. He's a spokeshole for everything. And this is the best because he just does this with a stone cold face. It's impressive. I think he should win an Academy Award for this.
Upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels.
Exactly, no evidence.
And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said...
Well, wait a minute.
Yes?
That's a tricky one.
He's good. I'm telling you, he's good.
He said there was no reported drone sightings in any restricted areas, which is only a very limited number of places. In other words, there could be drones all over the place.
Yes, but not in restricted places, like over the president's...
But the way he does it, he passes it over as though there's no drones.
Oh, this is carefully scripted. He knows...
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. He's carefully scripted.
Academy Award, you're right.
An Emmy, at least.
Based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, We certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage. While there is no known malicious activity occurring, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight a gap in authorities. And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities.
By the way, stop.
Yes.
Almost word for word the same message from Majorca.
Oh, of course, because this is a script. We'll get to it. I have a sequence. We're going to set it up, hammer it home, and then we can let the M5M drone on. Pun intended, for the next week or so. But it's ending.
And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities so that we are better prepared to identify and mitigate any potential threats to airports or other critical infrastructure, and so that state and local authorities are provided all the tools that they need to respond to such threats as well.
There you go. Okay, so he said everything perfectly. He hasn't lied about anything. He's done a little bit of a setup, but we really needed legislation for this. I'm going to give you Inside Edition with their report because it brings in a little bit of the hysteria, which we actually saw back on the radio with War of the Worlds. There's some of that going on here.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. There are increasing demands for the government to share what it knows and what it doesn't know about the mysterious drones that have been hovering over New Jersey. This startling photo shows 8 in the sky at one time. Sightings are now spreading to other states, including New York and Pennsylvania. Some politicians are calling for them to be shot out of the sky.
Politicians. Note, there's a lot of politicians who are coming out and talking. More politicians than FBI or law enforcement. It's mainly politicians.
Here they are.
Drone hysteria is ratcheting up.
Drone hysteria.
Extraordinary new images are emerging today, like this time-lapse video from New Jersey, purportedly showing drone activity. And now they're on the move towards New York City.
That's a drone.
A drone can't go that high, bro.
This video, posted on TikTok, was apparently taken on Staten Island. More drone sightings were reported just outside LaGuardia Airport.
I'm getting multiple calls for drones. I have about 5 to 10 drones hovering in LaGuardia.
And still, no one knows who launched them.
People of this city and state and region deserve answers of what the heck is going on.
Local lawmakers today are demanding answers. One congresswoman says she feels like she's in an alien movie.
There you go.
20 years ago, they filmed War of the Worlds on Staten Island. And now we feel like we're characters in that movie.
Yeah.
What is happening is outrageous.
New Jersey Senator Andy Kim says he went out with the state police and personally observed 5 to 7 lights in the sky. Maryland's former Governor Larry Hogan says, I personally witnessed and videoed what appeared to be dozens of large drones in the sky above my residence in Davidsonville, Maryland, 25 miles from our nation's capital. I observed the activity for approximately 45 minutes.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of the entertainment angle.
Oh, God!
No one ever, what they missed was, someone should have done a Rudolph angle. They should have done, a red blinking light. It's got to be Santa and a sleigh. No one pulled that one in. I'm a little disappointed. So here is the true setup. And this is where the false prophets start to unveil themselves.
New Jersey lawmakers and law enforcement agencies are demanding answers from the federal government as alleged drone sightings continue across the area.
The federal government to just shun this away is unreasonable, quite frankly, unacceptable.
New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith says he's now drafting legislation that would give local and state agencies the power to investigate drone activity and also ask the federal government for technology to do so.
Knowing that drone warfare has radically changed warfighting in Ukraine and Russia, the Middle East, and elsewhere, this is not the time to trivialize or dismiss the threat.
As the concerned calls of sightings continue, the Ocean County Sheriff's Department has been using its drone to investigate. The sheriff says the drone has captured several concerning encounters, including one allegedly flying at what seems like 60 miles an hour.
Super fast.
And some traveling in groups of dozens.
She reports that she saw 50 drones coming from the ocean to the mainland, transversing the airwaves. over Island Beach State Park, going down towards Barnegat Light and coming to the seaside area.
Meantime, in New York, Stewart Airport in Orange County was closed for about an hour Friday night due to a drone sighting. Governor Kathy Hochul is urging Congress to give power to state and local agencies. She said, quote, until those powers are granted to state and local officials, the Biden administration must step in directing additional federal law enforcement to New York and the surrounding region to ensure the safety of our critical infrastructure and our people. Senior administration officials said Saturday there have been 5,000 tips reported to the FBI regarding drones. Of them, less than 100 required further investigation. And while federal officials maintain there is no obvious threat, they admit that there are unidentified drones overhead in New Jersey.
We've almost heard every single bit of what had to happen and what the setup was. And you know the false prophets by their fruits. Here it is.
Congress has just 8 days until government funding is set to run out. Next Friday, December 20th, is the deadline to get a spending measure passed. Meanwhile, progress is being made on the annual defense bill. Mike Goody has the latest.
The House passed the $895 billion National Defense Authorization Act on Wednesday on a bipartisan 281 to 140 vote. The NDAA includes a 14.5% pay raise for junior enlisted service members and a 4.5% hike for all other members. The most contentious provision was a restriction on the use of TRICARE funds for gender-affirming care for the children 18 years and younger of service members. Local Democrats Bobby Scott and Jennifer McClellan opposed that part of the bill, but still voted yes for the overall measure, joining local Republicans Jen Kiggins and Rob Whitman.
So the whole transgender thing, that's what they had really thrown out there to make this not happen. But in this was the very controversial H.R. 8610 Counter UAS Authority Security Safety and Reauthorization Act. That's what this was about. This gives local law enforcement the power to police drones. And most importantly, as I read the bill, it just passed, literally passed the bill where they will be able to outlaw drones from China. This was a very controversial bill because the drone lobby is not small and very vocal. It includes police departments. It includes film. It's every single aspect of society is using drones, commercial drones, and now they will have to buy drones from U.S. manufacturers.
Can I read the note from Joel?
Yeah, please do.
In the morning, gentlemen, I wanted to say something regarding the drone topic from Thursday. I work at a video production company in Tulsa. As the only FAA commercially licensed drone pilot at my job, I've been flying drones for my job for some years now. It's important to note that you don't need a license. He goes on about the licensing issues. But then he brings up this. Regarding the legislation, I've been aware of this bill for a while. I'm no bill diver, but it sounds like they're going to outlaw any and all drones that are manufactured in China, specifically DJI products. This is disappointing, as all the best camera drones are manufactured by DJI. I think a lot of people in this industry will be back to square one with camera drones because it seems like everyone uses DJI and most don't build their own drones. I, for one, hope this bill doesn't pass. We're invested a lot of money in our drone fleet, and I would prefer to keep using them. I hope this helps.
And it gets even worse because it looks like the FCC will ban these DJI drones from using frequencies because of, well, they're clearly transmitting back all kinds of data they're sucking up and, back to China or whatever the nonsense is. We got a note from the Barron Anonymous cop, quick boots on the ground. Just some background as a cop drone pilot. Did you know he was a drone pilot? Or an anonymous Barron?
I know now. He's a ham. We know that.
He says, I don't spend my time checking out girls like John says I do, The drone is tossed up when looking for dudes jumping fences from stolen cars or helping the fire department find hot spots at house fires. That being said, the easiest, no hassle, and cheapest for public entities to purchase are the Chinese-made drones. The typical American-made consumer drone, and he has a link there, costs 1/3 to double the price. They are attempting to be more competitive, but the price and capability of the Chinese product is not matched yet. Some lawmakers during the discussions about this bill were even going so far as calling it TikTok with wings. This was a very controversial piece of legislation. And what happened here, this complete psyop with very carefully worded statements from Kirby and Mayorkas, was cover for the lawmakers so they wouldn't get heat. Well, it's the government's not telling us. It's the government. It's the military. It's these guys. I mean, we've got to pass this stuff now because, who knows? It could be aliens. It could be Chinese that are launching from motherships. Bull crap. And the guy
motherships.
And the guy behind this happens to have a big hand in YouTube. Maybe not directly anymore, but we were on this over a year ago.
Today on Forbes, ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt is working on a secret military drone project. Ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt has been quietly plotting a new defense tech effort, a stealth military drone project. This according to 4 sources with knowledge of the effort. The project's existence has not been previously reported, and it has yet to publicly launch. The clandestine project intends to provide an American alternative to Chinese drones and will develop unmanned aircraft systems specifically to be used on the battlefield, 2 of the sources said. 3 of the sources familiar with Schmidt's engagements said the work is influenced by his recent visits to Ukraine, where the billionaire has made inroads with government officials and military leaders over the past year. 2 of these individuals added that Sebastian Thrun, a co-founder of Google's Moonshot Lab, is involved with the effort. Forbes was unable to determine who other than Thrun is helping with the secretive project.
So it all comes back to, you heard it in the previous word. Well, drones are really important in warfare. We saw it in Ukraine with Russia. And here's an interview that Eric Schmidt, former chairman of Google, did, I think it was Stanford, talking about his new project. The secret project is called White Stork, and it's kind of out in the open now.
Let's talk about a real war that's going on. I know that something you've been very involved in is the Ukraine war, and in particular, I don't know how much you can talk about White Stork and your goal of having $500 drones destroy $5 million tanks.
So
how's that changing warfare?
So I worked for the Secretary of Defense for 7 years and tried to change the way we run our military. I'm not a particularly big fan of the military, but it's very expensive, and I wanted to see if I could be helpful. And I think, in my view, I largely failed. They gave me a medal, so they must give medals to failure or whatever. But my self-criticism was nothing has really changed, and the system in America is not going to lead to real innovation. So watching the Russians use tanks to destroy apartment buildings with little old ladies and kids just drove me crazy. So I decided to work on a company with your friend Sebastian Thrun and as a former faculty member here and a whole bunch of Stanford people. And the idea basically is to do 2 things. Use AI in complicated, powerful ways for these essentially robotic war. And the second one is to lower the cost of the robot. Now you sit there and you go, why would a good liberal like me do that? And the answer is that the whole theory of armies is tanks, artillery, and mortar. And we can eliminate all of them.
This is a complete shift. He was on it very early. He helped out with Ukraine. All we've heard about continuously, Iranian drones, Russian drones, Ukraine drones, anti-drone technology. It's all drones, and we needed to pass this because we've got to get China out of the market. And Eric Schmidt is no small player. This guy is a mover and shaker in Washington. And in fact, he's more than that now. He's, here, he'll tell you himself.
Because I've been doing this for the last year, I've learned a lot about war that I really did not want to know. And one of the things to know about war is that the offense always has the advantage because you can always overwhelm the defensive systems. And so you're better off as a strategy of national defense to have a very strong offense that you can use if you need to. And the systems that I and others are building will do that. Because of the way the system works, I am now a licensed arms dealer. So computer scientist, businessman, arms dealer. And I don't know. I do not recommend this in your career path. I'd stick with AI.
This was complete setup, and it worked beautifully. Everybody jumped right into it because we're looking down at our phones, not up in the sky. This is all about Eric Schmidt getting his drones into the military. He is now a licensed arms dealer. And okay, I'll give you one more week because it's kind of funny, but it's going to end. It's all going to fade away. We may get another huge distraction, but it's done. It's over. It's past. That's what they needed. That's what they wanted. And if you have a DJI drone, you're going to find yourself out of luck, I think.
I don't think so.
You don't
modify the drone so there's no way of knowing. You're going to have a licensed drone. It's going to. I don't think. No. You can't. You have to. You need these drones for public safety.
Yeah,
I think that the anonymous cop said it. For what it's worth. But this is so disappointing because Eric Schmidt was, he was at Novell and then he was at Google and he was a pretty nice guy. He used to be on Silicon Spin quite a few times.
He was a very nice liberal. What happened?
Yeah, but he's a liberal gone rogue. Now he's basically a munitions maker.
Yeah, exactly. And you think that
how do you go from A to B if you go from being this, borderline pacifist liberal to being an arms dealer? Why? What makes you do that?
Money.
He's already a multi-billionaire. He's got so many, he's like up there in the top 10.
Well, now
because of all
you
the
might
Google
as well say
stuff.
that about everybody, every billionaire. Well, why would the billionaire want more money? That's how it works. What do you mean?
I don't know if it's that. There's something. I think it's more power than money.
Okay, all right, power. Then I'll give you power.